Okay, so we're going to do a very quick update. I thought it was appropriate to not wait till the end of the week. Got a couple of questions in, a couple of things are happening, and I just wanted to make sure that everyone was kept abreast of what's going on here at the company. But also the latter part of the week is pretty jam-packed for me as far as the schedule is concerned, so I was worried that I might not be able to get to this. So we'll do this very quick. As many know, we made an announcement today that all of the websites are going to be revamped, right? So we're going to start off in a specific order and really tackle these websites to make sure that they are able to provide not only the level of service, but also represent the company in the way it needs to be represented. We're also going to be adding some sales channels as we move closer to product launches. This is something we've been working on for a while, as I'm sure many realize, especially considering the effort it takes to launch these sites. So from the perspective of launching these new websites, we're doing some testing. There'll be some design changes made, but for the most part, you'll start seeing those in the coming weeks. We'll trickle those out. When that's going to happen, I don't have a definitive time frame yet, but it will be soon. You'll start seeing that in a specific order, mostly those that are representing the company. So UAT Group obviously would be first, and then we're going to have some changes made to H2O and Ossifix as we start building in some of those additional verticals. Okay, so that's something, and I know a lot of people are very interested in why the websites haven't changed, been updated. It's not that we didn't understand that they needed to be, but there's only so much human capital and time that you can allocate to a specific project. And for the most part, we've been really focused on finalizing the foundational year, which is 2021. We're putting some things in place for 2022. Obviously, we have some overflow for the first quarter of 2022, and I think I've touched on this in several videos. We're going to be finalizing some of the 2021 stuff. Okay, so we are moving forward. Right now, we are not just on schedule, we are slightly ahead of schedule by about a week and a half, it looks like. So we're getting things done, so that's good news, at least for me, right? So I like being ahead of schedule. I don't like being behind. Okay, so we are also going to be making some announcements. I think many people realize we've made a lot of changes, maybe not to the fullest extent of all the changes that we've made, but we've made a lot of changes internally, not just to infrastructure, but also any service providers or anyone that's really within the UAT Group orbit or within the orbit of the UAT Group family of companies. I made a lot of changes that would make us a little more efficient in delivering on certain elements of our business model, but also enable us to be able to deliver on that. We had some stagnation, if you will, with some of the people that we were dealing with, and it was time for us to move on to relationships that better suited us. Okay, so this another company we're bringing on is this company is going to assist in onboarding not only additional business verticals, but talent and retail efficiencies. This is one of the things they're really good at. So, and they'll be assisting with the websites as well. And this is all part of that 2021 overflow. We were hoping to have a lot of this done by the end of last year, but there was some overflow and some delays. So we are buttoning that up in January. Okay. I won't get into the specific name of the companies. We'll be doing a press release on this and several other things. So we can address that if there are questions after the fact. Okay. There are, as I mentioned, several announcements coming over the next few weeks. We've gotten some questions on specifically how many. I'm really not going to get into specifics. I will say that 5 or 6 things are already scheduled on the calendar, many of which are going to be official statements, and then some other things that'll be more informative in nature, maybe not something that represents a material change or required by disclosure. We do have quite a bit that is required by disclosure that we'll be pushing out, and that actually touches on our quarterlies, which will be done in the next couple of weeks. So we can discuss those when they are released. As far as H2O, a lot of questions. So H2O is currently finalizing a licensee or / strategic partner that they have licensed to retail in the oil and gas and mining sector. That's not something H2O wanted to manage or have purview over directly. There are better people, better suited for that. They're focusing on more environmental things. We're going to get into that in the future. But right now, the contracts that many people reference are going to be pushed through this particular licensee, and they've been making some inroads and progress within those contracts. So right now, they're finalizing those orders, and we should have some fidelity on that shortly as far as the numbers, how many units. That's really been one of the things we've gone back and forth the most on, not just pertaining to full mobile systems, but also fixed systems, and then some demonstration units. I'm not going to get too far into that because we do have some announcements we're going to make on that here in the next week or so. We'll be putting out some information, and then I can get into specifics. Everybody's always asked how much the unit cost and all of that. Each particular unit, we'll get into that, and I have no mind. We can also release some images of those particular units once they're delivered on site. A lot of people have asked for that. And I have discussed this at length, not only with marketing, but each individual C-level individual within each organization, so that we make sure that we can, have some type of media for people to take a look at, because people do like seeing the tech. And if people are interested in, let me know if you're interested in being part of a demonstration where we could do a video on how the system works. If that's of interest, we can get that done as well. Once those units are delivered on site, then we would have water to treat, and we could show on-site testing and so forth. To me, internally, this is interesting because it shows progress in a certain direction, but from the outside looking in, it may not be of interest. So if you are interested in that, we'll be more than happy to provide that information or that media. Okay, so let's take a look at, we've got a lot of questions on other companies and potential acquisitions and so forth. So let me just say this. In 2020, I had a feeling that things were going to go in a certain direction. And to hedge against that, I started shifting internal focus so that we could maybe allocate some more assets and resources to the subsidiaries or other assets that we had that would deliver on products, services, or assets that could weather a significant global correction. So that's why you have seen, and I didn't want to get into it too far last year. I don't want to be an alarmist, but for me, it was important that the company has things in place that would be able to, go beyond any type of market condition. So this is why you've seen a very significant focus on water technology, water treatment technology, and also anything, any assets related to the medical industry. I know we had talked about launching things within UAT first. I switched focus. It was important for us to do that because I felt these are the assets that would bring the largest return in revenues, because this year is about revenues, right? And then among other things, but for the focus for 2022, as I previously stated, we are building on 2021 and now focusing on the revenues. So there's been a significant shift. And I think now it's probably something that most people can relate to, and they understand why we did that and what I had seen coming down the road. And so we made some adjustments. These subsidiaries may be moving, as far as launching and production, out of our original calendar, so that we're ahead in many ways on those particular companies. And it's also why we've had a few little delays and stumbles, because they weren't necessarily scheduled to go at this particular time, actually starting last year. So we are now focused on bringing those other companies revenue positive in a very significant way. So things like Ossifix, Bacter is another one. That's a strategic partner we own 10% of, but also H2O Processing, a wholly owned subsidiary, and a few other assets within the medical field that we will be focusing heavily on. And that's why you're going to see us go into production and launch those products in the market segment very, very soon. And then we're going to move on to a few other things. not the least of which are going to be the completion of the audits and the filing of the S1. So I did get some questions. I want to button this up really quick. We did get some questions on the S1. I don't know why anyone would think we're not going to continue down that path. We started down the path. It's partially drafted already with legal, and we are going to continue moving forward. What we did not have finality on, and I still have not made a determination on, is the Reg A Plus. Potentially we'll do that, but that truly depends on bridging requirements. So we'll see where we land on that. I'll have an answer or a better idea on when I can determine if we should move forward with that or not in the next probably 2 months, I'm thinking. So, but don't hold me to that. Don't count from here forward and say Alex said this day was a day, because it's exactly 2 months. That's not what I'm saying. It's an estimated time frame because there are certain factors I don't control within the auditing of the companies. I expect we'll be able to make significant progress on the auditing side, only because of how simple things have been with certain subsidiaries, and of course the accounting that was kept, the meticulous accounting within certain subsidiaries. We acquire that. You don't always necessarily know how meticulous they've been kept. And so far, so good. Fingers crossed, everything's gone very well. We are making some changes within that structure. I will make an announcement shortly about that, but I need to make sure that any provider doing anything with any of our subsidiaries, anything, is operating with the sense of urgency and the attention to detail that we are operating under. And I cannot have a delay based off of anything within their organization. And I know that sounds cold, but what's going on with them is not my concern. My concern is obviously the operations of the public company and its subsidiaries, or any all of its assets, quite frankly. So we are going to be adding and onboarding some additional resources, and then we'll be making some further changes, because I need to make sure that we can move as quickly as possible to the end point, because by the middle of this year, I need to be at a certain point so that we can move and complete all of the objectives that we've outlined for 2022. I'm going to run. I will make another video. It'll probably be next week as far as questions. But I thought this update was important to do now, only because I didn't think I was going to be able to do it at the end of the week. So I didn't want to leave you hanging, as it were, right? So we'll get another video out as far as the questions. And if anyone has any questions or concerns, please send those in to the social media team, and we'll get those addressed. We do have another video coming out. I did a couple of interviews, I think I mentioned this previously, with a couple of the CEOs from the subsidiaries. I think she released the video today. I'm not 100% certain on with Mr. Cooley over at the Dreaming Company. And then also I did another video with Stan Abrams over at H2O. And then the following week, we're going to talk to Mark. We'll get those out to you. And I think there's been some really good insight within the first couple of calls I did with them. And it should be interesting to everyone else. So hope everyone is staying safe. Hope everyone has a great day, and I look forward to talking to you next time. Thank you.